Okay, so if you've watched video number 1, how to make soap, now we are on to video number 2. This video is how to make in the pot swirl. So if I don't know if you've ever seen me pour like different colors into one container and then pour that off. Yeah, that's what it's called in the pot swirl. So you'll learn how to make that today. If you weren't sure how to start the soap making process, please go back and watch number 1 so that you can see exactly how I use my butters, melt them, stir my lye, and all of that good stuff. Okay, so let's make an in the pot swirl. So today, as you can see, I'm not making a big batch of soap. This is just to show you how to do certain styles. So I have my lye here and I have my oils over here. They're the same oils as before. So if you need to see the recipe, you can go and check the description box of which oils I'm using, as well as the percentages. So we'll get started. If you want to see again exactly how I measure out, you can go and watch the first video. But essentially, you get your lye, and this is just some lye lint, but you get your lye and you mix it with your water. Always add your lye to the water and not your water to the lye. In the first one, you would have seen me just measure out the lye directly in here. Typically, if I have a lot of lye, I would just get a container, measure out my lye first, and then add it in small amounts to my water to make sure that it's not overheating, because that can happen and then it can bubble up. So just watch out for that. So add your lye as small amounts at a time to your water. I would have taken my hard oil, so that's my cocoa butter and my coconut oil, and I melted them down, and then I added my other oils. I waited until they came about room temperature for me because of where I am. I don't like to soak too hot because it can seize up on me quickly, and that's just what I found. For other people, it could be different. Where I am is pretty cool, so that kind of helps me as I do my soaping. Today we will be adding a fragrance oil, and we can talk a bit about fragrance oils. Depends on where you buy them. Some places will have a full description of what your oil does. If it accelerates trace, if it discolors. I find that Windy Point, and today I am using Bamboo Lotus. For Windy Point, they typically have exactly what the fragrance does. So this is just a small bottle, but it tells me it doesn't have any vanillin, sorry. And if it does have a vanillin, you can always get a vanillin stabilizer. Those are sold separately. So that vanillin, the stabilizer, will help to make sure that your soap doesn't discolor. So it says that the flash point is 187. So I know that this is well below that. Maximum cold process usage. So it tells you how much you can use in the soap at any given time. And this is under, they should have an IFRA document, and usually it and the ones I've seen, it is under category 9A or 9, I believe, where it says bar soap and such, but this is saying 11.2. When you're using it at like about 20 grams right now, does not discolor or accelerate trace. So that means that I can work with this. Accelerate trace, typically that's what it means. As soon as you put it in, it can make your soap actually seize up faster. Discoloration usually goes between a yellow, light tan, or really brown. Typically, if I'm using a fragrance and it does have in a lot of vanillin, I just either leave it, or I would add the stabilizer, depend on what the scent is and I really want it to look like those colors, or I just use it as a brown soap and leave it as that. But you will learn that as you go along. So I'm not adding any additives to this again. So we are following the same thing. As I said, I have my sodium lactate in here, and I did put my citric acid, but I'm not adding any powders or anything like that to this. typically with your colors, and these are colors that I use, that I was using in another soap, but I had some left over and I don't like to waste. So typically these are like oxides. So with oxides, you have to make sure you mix them pretty good. They do leave like little specks in your soap, and I will show you. So I will leave these as is, and I will show you exactly what I mean. It might come out in the soap, it might not, because I did mix them, but I had left them for a while, so the specks might come out. But let's start at least the soap making. So I'll go ahead and pour my lye into the container. And as I mentioned to you before, always try to pour it on your stick. This is such a small amount that, yeah, I have to raise the stick a little bit, but that's okay. So make sure all your liquid is out. All right. This is such a small amount. I'll just stick blend it a little bit, but you can typically actually mix this with your spatula and leave it there. But I want to make sure everything is incorporated. Remember to burp your blender so that any air that's caught in the blender will come out. Okay, I'll do the rest by hand. I just like to see it change to an opaque color. And then usually, especially if I'm going to do a design, once I know that it is blended, and yes, this would be, I don't know if you can see that, but that would be something like false trace, because I can still see the oil there, but that's okay. I just want them to kind of incorporate, and then I go from there with my designs, because I don't want that I'm mixing. And I know the fragrance oil said that it doesn't accelerate, but as I said, there could be other things that might cause it to, so I don't want that to happen. Okay. All right, so since it's so small, I will use these. And of course, I want white as the main color, because I find when you have either like a white or black background when you do in the pot swirls, it turns out really nice. Okay, now in here, I will add the white. I don't have to add a lot, because at the end of the day, the color doesn't really matter here. Is the design we are going for. Then to this one, I'll add the yellow. Then in this one, I'll add the blue. Okay, so I'll stick blend these one more time just so that the colors will mix in. But this is what I was talking about when it comes to your colors, only because with the oxides, you still can get a little bit of the remnants of the color. What you can do is you can either, with especially the titanium dioxide, try to get a water soluble one. Now I know adding more water can cause you to get glycerin rivers in your soap, but what you're going to do is take that and you are going to dilute that with water. I think it's 2 to 1, so 2 parts titanium dioxide, 1 part water, I believe. I will find the exact measurements, but you can put it inside a bottle with maybe some little metal balls inside to keep it so that it stays fluid all the time. Right, so I'll do another blitz with the blender so that the colors are incorporated. And I'll add the fragrance at the same time. This is usually the boring part. I'm gonna start taking this part out of my videos because I like to get everything in the off the blender, but then I'm like, oh my god, like I just spent 5 minutes trying to get all of that out. Bore. So yeah. Right, but oh yeah, I can see some of the speckles still there. So at least at the end of the soap, you should be able to probably see what I mean, but we'll see what happens. All right, so the term in the pot swirl is literally what it sounds like, or what it is. So you make the design literally in the container that you're using. So for this, and you try to move it around. I like to put it in just a certain spot, but literally you can do like this, and you can pour from up high, you can come down low, so that you know where the design will be. I won't bother to try to put any on the top, so I'll just take everything out. And you might have seen me done this a couple times in my videos. Where I leave some in the container so that you can see, so that you can do like another design on the top. But today I won't do that. Okay, so once everything is in there, you can go ahead and pour it in your mold. So sometimes I shake it like this just to make sure everything is in there. Then you can pour like this. You can pour just in the corner, however you want. So I have a little bit left, and usually what I do with the bits that are left, I put it in a smaller mold, and that's like a little side soap for myself. Technically all of these will be for myself, but that's okay. So from here, you can choose to do a design, but as I said, I am just going to leave it here for now. far, maybe not. Just so that white is distributed. Okay, so we have this here, and we'll come back in 24 hours to cut this. It might not be 24 hours for me, but 24 hours for you. All right, so this is the in the pot swirl, and we'll see how it looks on the inside when it is done. Okay, bye for now. Okay, so we did our swirly soap. Look at that. And if you can see, there is some soda ash on top, but that's okay. You will encounter this sometimes, and that's just your water content. It also happens with the environment you're in. I realize sometimes if it is really cold, then I get soda ash, but I am using less water in my my recipe, so different factors. So let's see how the inside of our soap looks. If you remember from the other one, when you get these, you kind of just want to push down. When you push down, they eventually pop out. There you go. Oh, look at that. That's very pretty. So this was supposed to be blue and yellow. So now I know some fragrances really do turn the color. So when I first used these molds, because of the shape I wanted my soap, I actually used to cut this end off, like at the side here, and then I would cut this in 3. So I would end up with 4 bars, yes, but still, today I won't do that. I'll just go ahead and cut. Oh, that's really pretty. Yeah, that blue tricked me. It's a kind of purpley color here, and in the soap I made Arabian Nights, if you watch that video, it turned a darker purple. I can only hope over time it turns blue again, but I don't see that happening. So for these, obviously I'll be using these for myself. But this is a good size bar, this shape as well. Like you can cut that down, and that's a good size bar. This is kind of the size I wanted. So I got another mold that you'll probably see later on in some other videos. See how the shape of the bar looks. Very pretty. And that is the in the pot swirl. There's nothing much to it. You just take your colors, you mix them in with each other, being sure not to muddy the colors, and there you have a very beautiful bar of soap. So there you have it, our in the pot swirl for your back to basics. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.